Yeah, so I think a good point to start is really about the question why to change. You know, it's not fun to change, I must say. Changes in life usually are done because we're forced to change. And the road to change is confusing, especially nowadays. And it's a good question. Why should we change? Because here we're not talking about changes which are happening because we have to change, because how can we develop this ability to change willingly, to change because we want? And I think the answer really starts with the fact that looking at the world we're living at today, our world is changing and we all see it, we all feel it. Our world is changing faster than ever. And something I really like to think about, it's, think about your parents. Which kind of a world and environment they were grown, which kind of technology was available when they were kids. And then you can think about your grandparents. My grandmother, born in Israel, like they didn't have a television, neither a phone when they were born. Like the refrigerator was not electric. They needed to have cubes of ice with someone driving a horse like come to their house. And it's quite amazing that not like two generations afterwards, we are experiencing this world, which is so fast. We're talking through Zoom, we are connected. And maybe to highlight this big revolution, which is happening right now, which we're all aware of. And I think it's from one end, it's fascinating, the AI revolution. And on the other hand, it's frightening. We don't even start to understand what is these tools are about. We know it's going to change everything, and I'm sure most of you have tried to talk a little bit with ChatGPT and maybe created some images. And me and my partner, or we really fascinated because we understand we work in the organizational world for many years, but we see the change and we understand that we need to be up to date. And the thing is, the more we study, the more we understand that we don't even understand what the changes will be. But what we can see is definitely that these changes require us to change ourselves. And or you had an amazing example I would love you to share with us
Yeah,
around that.
last month, last month I saw an AI app. It's for people who work in sales, and I already saw it in a company, in a global company that, of course, works in Israel. And throughout the conversation with your client, of course, if you work in sales, it study your behavior, and throughout the conversation, the AI machine tells you to keep on going, to change your behavior, to stop talking. Your client lose his interest. It's unbelievable. And I asked the manager who manage all the...
We're talking a lot about this flexibility and what it requires, because it's not only about learning the technical tool, which is amazing and fascinating. And actually, Tamar here shared with me an amazing AI, which is about creating presentation. It's really about incorporating that in your new way of life. And that requires also deeper kind of mentality and way of thinking. And just to say, those changes are so vast. I really like this data. And by now, it's not so up to date, but most couples nowadays get to know each other through applications, which was unperceivable many years ago. So it requires a different kind of way of interaction with people. And we're talking a lot about the information revolution and the amount of data which is going through. So it requires new kind of abilities, like how do we process data? How do we make an analysis between different kinds of data, learn new abilities, acquire new abilities? And it is the World Financial Forum that actually announced this year that there's going to be three qualities which are already most dominant, but we're going to be even more important for this century. And first of all, it will be mental flexibility, which is our topic today, alongside the creativity. And the third one is a lot about human communication in people. So it's interesting. The world is becoming more technological, and the more technological it becomes, and the more industrialized, in a way, the human abilities and the human capacity is under more strain. So it's really what we're going to be talking about today. And, the changes is vast. I really like this picture just to open our minds. These are Maasai warriors from Africa. It's one of the less tribes which are still nomad in a way, but they're connected to the internet. They can have a chat with ChatGPT. The amount of information they're exposed to is enormous, which means these changes which we're talking about is really worldwide. They go everywhere, and they're revolutionizing our world. And an example I really like to give, which is not technological necessarily, is just COVID. How much in a day, because people sometimes say, yeah, changes, it will take time until AI will go in. It will take time before technology comes. But the thing is that changes can happen in a day, and COVID showed it to us in an amazing way, how in a moment, all of us just needed to change our working habit, the way we relate to one another, and to these kind of changes, we need to learn how to adapt.